and welcome to the Trading Bell. We are hosting today Wambui Mbarire, the Chief Executive, Retail Trade Association of Kenya. How is the sector really navigating the current times and really even the policy matters and all that? Wambui, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Excellent. Let me start by first of all allowing our viewers understand your organization and your mandate as RETRAK.
So the Retail Trade Association of Kenya, called RETRAK as you've said, is, we call it the voice of the retail sector.
Yeah.
We're about 12 years old now, and the formation was around not having any particular association or body speaking for the particular sector. And I like to say that in my personal view, outside agriculture, the next largest thing is actually retail.
Yeah.
Manufacturing is supported by retail.
Sure.
But I keep saying once I grow my maize, next thing is I'll consume what I can and sell the rest before we even go into value addition. So retail is very big. So for such a big sector, there was actually no one speaking for them individually. And the folly of trying to speak for yourself as an individual is always no one hears you. So that gave us the mandate to start speaking for the sector. So it was formed by the largest players at that time, obviously the supermarket, with a few people from the electronic sector.
Oh, great. Let's talk about the challenges that you are facing. There's significant changes when you look at how things are done from the, even as time goes. From your onset, what are you looking at as the current challenges facing the sector now?
I think regardless of the now that you're saying, just generally, compliance.
Okay.
Compliance. We have very unclear compliance terms and conditions in this country. And I know a lot of people speak about the predictability of tax, but really it is outside tax. If I take, for example, the supermarkets, let's just say any basic retailer. It would be awesome to know that I want to open a retail outlet tomorrow, and these are the 10 licenses I need. We don't have that.
Okay.
And it's a conversation we've had for the last 10 years. Pre-devolution, post-devolution of government, please, and now counties, please give us the 10 things that we must have. And for me, the beauty of that would be that when I open my doors, I am compliant instantly. And no one walks in and says, you don't have license number 11, because I'll then say I only have 10. Not having it creates chaos that we seem to thrive in. And chaos is a facilitator of corruption. So one of the largest challenges is that the ability to comply and to know what you should comply with.
That's big.
The second challenge we have, again, is the informality of retail. As I said, if I grow maize, then I'm automatically a retailer tomorrow. By nature of the way our country runs, and I guess in many countries, people view a profession as something you went to school and studied. We've never had a retail curriculum in this country. So retail is not considered a profession. It's considered the thing you do before you get a job. So the job, when you're working in retail, a lot of people don't consider it a job. And I always challenge people, if you walk and ask many a shop attendant what you're doing here, they would say, I'm doing this as I look for a job. So how to change that? We've had conversations with NITA, so we actually have just finished doing a shop floor attendant curriculum, which will help start changing that mentality. And we're also having conversations with Strathmore to see how we get it into the university or into executive trainings.
Let's talk about the rise of e-commerce and digital platforms, especially for the ones who are starting and all, but even the big guys in the market as well are also embracing that. So what are you doing as RETRAK to ensure that you're promoting to help even retailers who are still lagging behind to adopt to these technologies?
Shall I start by saying, in my view,
yes,
e-commerce is not here to kick out brick and mortar.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's not about to happen.
Okay.
They will complement each other. And not only in our market, but even in other markets. I always say Amazon opened a brick and mortar store after years of just being an online presence. And for them to come out and do brick and mortar, it means there's something about brick and mortar.
You're right.
So we are going to complement each other. We are not going to kick each other out. That is one. Two, I think we have about 1% of total retail doing online. We're still predominantly brick and mortar, both in the formal sector and in the informal sector.
Yeah.
We've seen growth of e-commerce in our own way, and that's the way we're going to go. As e-commerce is known by many people, it remains an urban thing, and it remains a Nairobi thing a lot. Outside Nairobi, we start to need to create our own kind of e-commerce.
Okay.
We had Copia. Copia was our kind of e-commerce.
Yes.
Yeah, because if we have addressing challenges even within Nairobi, imagine how much more difficult it is outside the urban areas. We are still limited to, we used to make fun about, get to the red Coke kiosk, turn left, look for the green Safaricom, then look for the gate that says Umbwakali, you know. So because of that challenge of addressing system, we are going to have to curate our own e-commerce. And that's going to take some time. I know, I mean, if you think about it, Jumia operates outside, as does Glovo, outside urban areas. But what they do is then have a pickup point, which we still have a lot of last mile challenges. To your question on how we facilitate in others, we see that a lot of the people who are actually on any of the available platforms remain supermarkets, a lot of supermarkets, definitely the food sector. I think that's where we've seen real uptake of the e-commerce. Then our youth who are doing stuff on Facebook, on TikTok, it's growing, and we encourage people to start at the lowest level. So if you can start a WhatsApp shop, you know,
go ahead.
And then to also understand that you really must not do it yourself. You're not a master of everything. So you can find people, the way we see people work with Glovo, or people work with Jumia, or any of the other existing platforms. So that I don't sound like I am promoting those particular two. Or any other platform who have the skill and mastery of doing it, then you can subscribe to get onto that. I mean, we've seen people in the fashion sector get together and have one platform, and everyone sells their stuff on that program. So we encourage people to create partnerships, to be able to work together, so that you're also working smart and not really working hard.
Okay. Fair enough. We have one of the challenges that really everybody's facing is, you know, the way you cannot predict how the economy is going really. And I'm sure your sector is not spared at all. In fact, there has been conversation that startups in this country, especially the ones that come and are jumping into matters, e-commerce and all that, we have seen some of them close shop. And I know it's also a concern on your desk. So I don't know how you are navigating this ecosystem. One
of the things we really try and do is have a lot of stakeholder engagement. Key stakeholder in this sense, government. Because what makes the business environment difficult are government policies.
That's true.
That's number one. So we constantly have conversations with government, especially to teach them, or to, let's not use the word teach. To request and to advise for us to be able to move forward together. Can we, for example, do pilots of the systems you're trying? If I take KRA as an example, KRA has, in I think the last 3 years, done 4 things, all aiming to cure one particular thing. The drama around VAT.
And compliance,
So it's actually all directed towards VAT. And the last meetings we had, we were like, the amount of money being spent in creating the various programs, we could really solve that, because my members who are technically, especially the supermarket sector, that is the largest retailer, if you can cure the problems that would come out of retail through any system for KRA, you'll have sorted everyone else. So we say, please, let's do a pilot of whatever system you want, so that we cure everything that has an issue I think there's nothing as complex as running a retail outlet, especially a supermarket that has plus 1,000 units of different types of things. So if you can work with this then, and they volunteered, the supermarkets volunteer.
Okay.
We are happy to do a pilot so that we, and we keep saying predictability, yes, but also business is supposed to fit into business.
Yeah.
Especially when you're coming after. So come study how our system works, then see how you can collect whatever you want to collect. So yeah.
Okay.
So just stakeholder engagement so that we're learning. We also do a lot of peer learning. So we have sessions where we have members together, bring a topic that affects both of them, I mean all members, and then see how are you dealing with it, how else would you deal with it. So that peer learning has also been very helpful in this economic.
Okay. Okay. Well put. And I saw you in the public participation together with other associations as well. In the already, it's no longer on the table since it was pushed aside by the president. We're talking about the bill. Yeah. But I just wanted to know, because you're engaging policy stakeholders, a lot of them, when it comes to ensuring that your environment of operation as RETRAK is really working well in favor of the businesses we're talking about. So I wanted to ask you, can you discuss any recent policy changes that you have initiated, and how has this been like?
Yeah, I think, okay, so yes, there's definitely, we had submissions for the finance bill.
Yes.
And yeah, it's out, but we had given and we got feedback on what they had taken and what they were not going to take.
Okay.
But then the other things we've done, if I take off straight from tax, would be minimum tax. We had the issue of minimum tax that was going to be introduced. And with the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, we went to court and forestalled that, because that was going to be just one more of the many things that are challenging the sector.
That's true, yeah.
Then the other one, okay, so there's that, there's
the minimum tax.
Let's park KRA and everything tax.
Yes.
But we have other things that we've done. For example, we have a lot of issues with MCSK, Frisk and Calm.
Okay.
We are very pro-supporting the industry, music industry, film industry.
Yes.
But we keep saying it has to be sustainable. So, for example, the current rates that my members are supposed to pay, and I'll use anyone who has more than 5,000 square foot, which is a lot of retailers. Single business permit is about 125,000 for that space. But you are then supposed to pay music copyright and Calm and Frisk 300,000 shillings per year. So take a supermarket that has 100 branches. On average, most branches will be about that 5,000 square feet.
Yeah.
So do the math, 100 times 300,000 for one license.
Wow.
And not forgetting that already that supermarket, I should have mentioned this before, has another 24, if I don't count the newest.
Yes.
24 licenses or levies or fees that they have to pay. So if you're paying to one body, 300,000 per branch.
Per branch?
Not.
So it's not one in all?
No.
Oh, gosh.
Per branch.
Yeah.
So you have, even let's say 50 of your branches, if you're at 100, or if, let's even say 30 of your branches.
Yeah.
30 of your branches at 300,000 per branch.
That's a lot.
So
a lot of money.
Because that's already gazetted, we have a memorandum of understanding that would have negotiated rates. That was for the benefit of the members. We've, as I said earlier, we put in place the NITA. We have a curriculum now that people can subscribe to start professionalizing the sector. We are doing a lot around food safety. We are very focused on the customer.
Okay.
And when I say that, it's in two ways. One, to ensure quality, right quantity at the right price. So we are doing things that would facilitate us to serve our customer better. The other one that we have done is we did the prompt payment code of practice. This was done just after the demise of Nakumat. And that is supposed to help us, and I think it has significantly helped us towards managing the relationship between the supplier and the retailer. So that we are creating a win-win situation. We have challenges we had challenges at that time in terms of payments, delayed payments. We had challenges around short stocking, which we still have. Short stocking is where suppliers, for some reason, are not able to meet your total demand, which is amazing because a lot of the time manufacturers are always saying they operate below capacity, yet half the time, if I order 100, I never get more than 60. And maybe it has to do with the inefficiencies of our systems, both the manufacturers and ourselves as retailers, which then goes to the next thing that we are trying to do is continuous learning sessions that allows greater operational efficiency. And maybe that will would uplift the sector to growing beyond a 30% formal that has been kind of there for the last 10 years. So how do we grow this 30%? We are second largest in Africa at 30%. South Africa, which is the largest, is about 60, 65 formal. But how can we grow it more? Because if we are more efficient and grow it beyond that, it really is one of the largest job creators.
No, you're right. So we take a quick short break. We'll be right back in a moment. Welcome back to the Trading Bell. We are speaking to Wambui Mbarire, the Chief Executive, Real Trade Association of Kenya. And Mbarire, welcome back again. And we were talking about just the ecosystem. There's a lot of sentiments that SMEs hardly meet their third, fourth birthday here in the country, because we have a lot of challenges when it comes to unemployment and people trying to get into businesses, and maybe they're not really well versed and on how to even run them. And some of them are factors beyond their control. So I don't know what you are doing to ensure sustainability and growth of especially SMEs within this retail sector.
Okay, I think one of the challenges of setting up is that, one, the unclear environment that we live in. That is definitely a challenge. In olden days, Kenya still has, but I don't know how effective it is now, Kenya Industrial Estates. And we also have KIRDI. Because from a retail point of view, what I have seen is the challenge of having tick the right boxes for your product to get into market. And when I say market, it doesn't matter which market, because I always tell people, in my personal view, an SME should not be aspiring to be on a tier 1 supermarket shelf on day 1 of process. They should really be aspiring to get into market, get their product panel beat, which is the same thing I say for a national level. Because we have Buy Kenya, Build Kenya, but what is Kenya?
That's true.
And who knows? And I keep saying, and I challenge this, and I always say, call me out if I'm saying the wrong thing. Is before I lose the SME, let me just speak to the national level and Buy Kenya, Build Kenya. The only person who exports a Kenyan product is a Kenyan. Because only a Kenyan can buy a Kenyan product, first and foremost, on a foreign shelf. So if you go to a government office, they serve you drinking chocolate called Promo, I think, or Coco Promo, which is a Kenyan brand. And it's in government offices because of the 40% local content rule. But it's amazing that I sat at Kiproba and I said, and I told them that, and they were like, okay, Coco who? And I said, even you guys don't know. So we are going to sign agreements with America and with China and to export our manufactured goods. But who's going to buy them there if the Kenyan themselves doesn't know them? So you need a Kenyan to know the Kenyan product to be able to then, in fact, I keep saying we should have one hell of a big market that sells Royco and what else do people put? And spices. Tropical heat. Those are the guys. We should be looking for who already gets carried in a suitcase when guys come here. The Kenyans who come here, when they're going back. They shop a lot, they do so. What do they put in their suit? That's what we should focus on. And then those are the manufacturers we should really now support for the export, because I'm sure now there's an American somewhere who knows Royco and would want some Royco. Or there's an American who knows Java and would want.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, focus on that.
Yes.
So the SME, same problem.
Yeah.
You need somebody to know your product before it gets onto a supermarket shelf.
Yes.
Bearing in mind that I said Kenyans shop 3 times on average in a supermarket. So you don't want to only sell 3 times. You want to already have the masses buying your product, interrogating your product, giving feedback on your product, and then you're able to. I always say, then I'll go to the supermarket and ask them, why don't you have this? And they'll be like, what? Can we find it? And put as many people. And you know, many people will ask, and then so because of how effective or ineffective that KIDI or Kenya Industrial Estates would be, or the regulatory bodies that facilitate the SME, how are they working together too? You know, the idea of a one-stop shop is really brilliant, because we need to capacity build the SME to understand that you need certain kind of packaging, you need a barcode, you need you must have a KEB sticker, you must have understand the issue of best by expiry dates, etc.
Yeah.
That knowledge does not get to the SMEs effectively. And therefore, they produce a product that they would then want to bring to a supermarket, and it's a non-starter. I'll give you a good example. About 3 years ago, we had a conversation with Kenya Association of Manufacturers. It's a conversation we continue to have, where we put SMEs in a room that are their members, and then we called in the supermarket sectors, talk to these guys about listing, because everyone seemed to be pushing to get listed on the supermarket. I think that it was COVID time actually, or just after COVID. That call had 1,000 SMEs logged on.
Wow.
To hear what do I need to do to, and we said submit, submit, submit. I think of that whole list with the supermarket we were working with at that point in time, 9 guys got listed.
Wow.
So out of 1,000 guys logging in, and these are all SMEs who are ready in their view to be in a supermarket. 9 were shortlisted. So after about a year, we had a session with CAM, and we called the 9. Not one of them had gotten onto the supermarket. And I was like, so what was the problem? So we interviewed them. Oh, I didn't have a barcode. Oh, I didn't. So we thought, okay, we need to rethink this conversation.
That's true.
Before we bring in the supermarkets, we actually need to either have sessions with KEBs, with the SMEs, which I think CAM tries to do. Sessions that will tell you. So now we change it. This is not, we won't have a session of telling you this is what you require to list in terms of a PIN number or a bank account. No. We will now educate you around packaging. We'll educate you around KEBS issues. We'll educate you around how to get a barcode and why you need a barcode and how you maintain your barcode. We'll educate you about packaging, why we want it in 12s or in 24s or whatever. So I think we are not creating enough forums for capacity building SMEs. And I want to put a disclaimer to that and say there's a lot of capacity building for SMEs that is financially based. We talk about money to them all the time. So all the banks have sessions with SMEs. I've seen a few start talking about operations as well, but really there should be some focus around the product itself. How do we ensure that the SME comes out with a product that is then sellable, or that is ready for market? So that when we then have conversation with supermarket and you take your product, you've ticked 9 of the 10 that are required, and the 10 is maybe your books or something, which no one ever asks for when they're listing you. So,
which is good. Still on the same breath as we come to really a close now. You talked about listing, and we're at the marketplace, and you have what I would say customers or members who would revolutionize this entire market. And I'm sure the NSE has put in place certain ways in which even guys who are in their SME stages, everything else, can as well have a way of either raising funds, doing everything else, and getting into the market. Do you have these conversations with your people?
Yeah, we do. We actually had a session right here on the floor.
Okay.
One was just sensitization with members.
Yes.
One was the member getting onto Ibuka. Just education around alternative sources of funding.
You're right.
I know it's been a challenge, and I think Nairobi Securities has similar challenges as insurance. People still debate on how important is it. For the security, I think it's about understanding.
Okay.
And I've shared with them that I also think the steps, if we're really looking at a proper Kenyan business that has the capacity, how do we move them from where they are to where they should be to be able to get listed?
They want to go. Yes.
For example, how do we do that? Because my former chairman used to say that we have brilliant brains as Africans, brilliant entrepreneurs. Their only shortfall is the lack of capital. So NSE has the capital.
Yes.
But the things they require you to do to get there, tall order. So I guess even the fear, because as I said, we are 30% formal. And sometimes they say we're 30% formal outward looking, but when you come inside, we are not that formal. So even walking that step to becoming 100% formal, putting in place a proper system, corporate governance, how does NSC facilitate that? How would they facilitate that? How are they able to open their doors wider so that more people are able to listen to them and then perhaps get interested?
Awesome. Wambui, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
There you have it. That is Wambui Mbarire, the Chief Executive, Retail Trade Association of Kenya, speaking as it is and saying, you know what, we need to always constantly think about BKBK, buy Kenya, build Kenya, and constantly grow our retailers and the people in the ecosystem. Thank you so much for your time. I leave you now with the markets.